first we have to start with we mentioned this briefly last week that Jordan Henderson, who plays for Al
Al-Attifaq.
Al-Attifaq,
Al-Attifaq,
Which is Steven Gerrard's team.
Yes, he is the manager there. But Jordan Henderson dealt with a lot of criticism for joining the team because obviously of the LGBT rights issues that are happening in Saudi Arabia.
Which he was a big champion of.
Yeah, so
until he got that bad.
Everybody, he saw the check. He's like, oh well, dang, that bad.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need to go to every country. Yeah.
Okay. And now it's official. Fabrizio Romano had put out the tweet that Jordan Henderson is done at Al-Attifaq.
He's getting the Al-Attifaq out of there.
He will be going to Ajax reportedly. We're waiting for the official sort of announcement, but. He dealt with a lot of criticism for even going and signing with the team. And
I will say this is Ajax are showing concrete interest.
No, I pulled up the wrong tweet, but yeah,
it's not exactly a here we go.
It's not a here we go just yet. It is. I'll find the official one, but it looks like it's pretty certain. So.
And it's not just Jordan Henderson either. There's rumors that Karim Benzema is trying to get out of the Saudi Pro League. The Saudi Pro League just seems in general to not be as desirable of a place to be as players initially thought it was going to be.
So what's the question? though? Do we think it's done?
That was what I was going to ask you guys. Do you guys think that this is just a half-year failure, or is it growing pains? Is that what we're seeing? Is it players are coming, it's not what they expected, but maybe these just aren't the players? Because there are other players that haven't been complaining. Sadio Mane seems to be enjoying himself. N'Golo Kante, hasn't heard anything from him. I don't know. What do you guys think is next for the Saudi Pro League?
That's a great question, whether it's a bust. Do we think?
Well, I mean, with the 6 people in the stands watching these games, you would have to think that it's not much of a success. Look, it's a thing where they have to figure out how to monetize this as soon as possible. They're spending tons and tons of money on bringing. I mean, I guess so, right? I mean, do you think it's simply that use oil money to fund this hobby? For some of the owners?
It's not a hobby. This is an attempt to enrich the football culture before, or at least visually, to the onlookers.
So you don't open the hood. Don't open the hood.
Nah. We just buy the car because it's painted.
Okay. Don't look at the Carfax. What you don't trust me?
Just slapping phones out of hands here. This is crazy. You gonna do this in front of me?
With family.
Yeah. Are you pulling up Zelle? Carfax slap. I think they want the World Cup in 2036. Is it?
Yeah.
So it's like a more of a long-term investment into just getting some of these obviously big tournaments in the country. So,
right. So you get some of the biggest players. You hope that changes.
How much money can they
outlook.
lose to do that?
Bazillions. And that's, I think, the official term. Gajillions, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
They have almost an endless amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's also,
They don't have to turn a profit ever. They don't even know what that is, profit.
It's a shame that could be the case.
They're like, wait a minute, if you start a business and it does well, you get more money? That's crazy. I just thought we had the money. And let's have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame in the grander, like in the bigger sort of, concept of like that there can be so many people struggling and people have and a lot of poverty, yet they're like, yo, let's just look, we're burning money. Like, come to the annual burning money festival.
Well, every halftime we burn money.
Okay, and that's what it kind of feels like, because so I get it if that is what the focus is. It just it be a financial investment for these whether it's like, look, if we can make the accusations or the alleged of just like greasing some of the wheels at FIFA, and maybe and I'm sure the people at FIFA are like, hey, we ain't no problem with
these wheels need grease.
Our wheels is kind of
squeak.
Wheels are kind of dry right now.
If only we had a little bit of oil. And shockingly, I feel like you guys got a lot of that oil.
So I guess the answer to the question might be like, we don't even necessarily know what failure looks like. I guess the closest thing to failure is players not wanting to play there, right? So Jordan Henderson Henderson leaving, and we heard the reports about that a lot of the players, especially the foreign players, that their wives are not comfortable. They don't appreciate being in the country, or they don't like the lifestyle.
I don't want to say it if I'm mistaken. Hilarious. But I do believe that Jordan Henderson was one of the players who doesn't live where Al Ettifaq plays. Okay. I think he lived in Doha and made the trip in.
All right.
For training and for the game.
Commuting to work.
I'm assuming that's like New Jersey, New York, like that close. Okay. I'm assuming. Maybe it's an hour and a half. I don't know. Maybe we could look that up. But it seems to me like the reason why you would choose to live in Doha is because maybe that's a bit more progressive.
Okay.
Maybe it's makes a little bit of an easier life for your wife, maybe. I'm assuming.
Maybe. I've been to Dubai, which is obviously not the same country, but it even before
Dubai's like it's the Vegas of the Middle East, though.
It is, but a lot of the questions I had before going were like, oh, do I have to behave a certain way? I knew that alcohol wasn't allowed in a lot of places. Not that I really cared about drinking a whole bunch, but you don't want to be like, yo, a Corona, please, and it's like handcuffs or whatever, right?
Man, I'd love a beer.
Damn, why am I in Abu Ghraib?
I didn't even get here.
Damn, I didn't mean. I just wanted a Heineken or Coors Light, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you. Well, no, you would get arrested if you had a Heineken, but if you had a Coors Light,
Coors Light's the only thing
you become a prince in Dubai. Do they have a royal family?
So, but one of the other things I was thinking about, is at beaches. I mean, man-made beaches or whatever. But what were the women like? I thought they would have to be in burqas. And
what's the state of dress? We've also heard stories like a friend of ours, Simeon Goodson, lived in Dubai, and he said you're not allowed to film selfies in public because there's very strict privacy laws. So other people might be getting in your video. You're not allowed to post that until you get consent from everyone that was in the background.
Wow. Yeah.
So most of the time you film selfies at home. Things like that. You can't just go on the stream and be like, I got a show this week. You have to do that from the privacy of your own home.
Just so there's good vibes, y'all.
The Korean chick heart thingy with your fingers. Don't do that in public.
12 years in prison. Sorry, can't.
That's about 4 beers worth of prison. But I think there's obviously a different culture. I'm not a big proponent of religion in any way, shape, or form, right? For me personally, I respect if other people have it as part of their culture or something they believe in or their faith, go for it. But I do think there are some learning curves. There are some learning curves to living in a place like Saudi Arabia or in Doha, if that's where you choose to live. And I think especially I think the English have a hard time even living in America sometimes. The culture's not the same. Life in English is different. We experienced it when we were in Liverpool. People were popping beer cans at 10 a.m. on the train. And we're like, this isn't normal where we live. You know what I mean? Unless you're a detective whose partner was just murdered. And there's a camera crew and this is part of the script of the movie you're filming. It just isn't. Some of those things, like the idea of just going out and getting super, super drunk and stuff like that, that's not a part of even our culture. There's a bit of a learning curve on living in America. That way, I can only imagine a place where drinking is really looked down upon, how hard that is. I can imagine it's very difficult. Do I think this is it for the Saudi Pro League? Part of me tells me no. They're just going to go find different players. They may not be the ilk they want, but Cristiano Ronaldo seems to be having a good time there. Neymar, up until his injury, seemed fine, or at least we hadn't heard any negativity.
I mean, I think the big issue is that the players that do sign, I'm sure it's part of especially players like Ronaldo and Neymar, that not only are they stars that are playing in the league, but they also have to also be advocates and
it's part of your deal
for the country. I mean, they're not gonna say a slightly negative word.
Your goal celebration has to be you opening a travel pamphlet to Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. What a cool!
Wow, the beaches are man-made but serene.
Look, my family having a great time at this resort.
Please don't focus on the red dots of lasers on their foreheads.
Why are we taking penalties? You don't need to do that.
We don't need that. Focus somewhere else. To me, it's difficult to say because of the amount of money they have access to. It's hard for me to say this has been a bust. I think growing pains is what I'll say.
Okay. I mean, look, I think Jordan Henderson is not the caliber player that's going to
He ain't putting butts in the seats.
right. But there's something to be said about maybe players from England that have the opportunity to go play in Saudi Arabia. They're gonna hit up Jordan Henderson and be like, "Yo, what was it like? Should I go?" And
They're not going to hit up Jordan Henderson. I think they know. They might hit up like N'Golo Kante and be like, "What do you think, dog?"
I'm just saying. Look, he is an ambassador to some degree for the English player that might want to go play out there. Because I'm sure
if you're going to date Amber Heard, you might not reach out to
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. But what was that like? You know what I mean? You might reach out to a different ex.
Somebody that might have had a better experience.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
buy a couple bed sheets.
I was on Netflix and I heard that she pooped in your bed.
Yeah.
Is that like how much poop? You don't
Is
really
it like a little. It was a little poop.
Is it like a manageable amount of poop?
If it was a nugget, all right. But if it was a concentrated amount,
a nugget you can make work.
You didn't know. You thought it was a fart. But if it's a significant amount, where they had to stand there and read pamphlets on travel to Saudi Arabia,
I'm swiping left. I think.
I think I'm not. I think I'm deleting Raya.
So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. The league is not going anywhere, but I think Karim Benzema reported that he's looking probably for other options to get out of there.
He hasn't joined back with the team.
Okay, yeah, I don't know where they are now with it. But then Roberto Firmino said that he's staying with the team.
Al
Ali. And so look, you're gonna hear this from time to time. Jordan Henderson is just. Because of the controversy of his signing, I think that's why we're kind of focusing on him, because he, I think, justifiably dealt with a little bit of criticism, and so it's going to be interesting him going to Holland and maybe get kind of away from the press about it to some degree.
Do you want to hear a quick little story about how bad the English travel? Remember, England won the World Cup in 1966.
Yes.
In 1970, the World Cup is in Mexico. Okay, Mexico.
I got it the first time. Everyone understood the first time.
Just in case anyone listening is like, where is that?
I didn't know. I need a Duolingo to listen to this show.
He switched the J sound to an X, and now I understand it. The coach of the English national team said the food was terrible. Mexican food is bad. So they imported frozen hamburgers and sausages.
I've heard this.
To give you an idea of how badly the British travel. They thought Mexican food, what's with all this seasoning? Bring us the frozen sausages.
Yes, if it wasn't thawed in front of them, they don't want it. I have heard that story. That is fascinating.
Come on, you ain't built for this.